What is up, YouTube? Herozin here, and if you've seen my last video on how to build a Quetz Cage, well, we found this 135mm Quetzal, and you know what? I've decided that I am going to be taming it. So I'm going to now trank it and show you how to use the cage and stuff you need to know about this cage. So we're going to go ahead and knock this boy out and shoot him in the head, because Quetzals do have a head multiplayer. Some dinos don't. If you would like to know which dinos do and don't, you're just gonna have to look it up online, or maybe someday I might do a video on it. But the information is already out there, and not every dino has a multiplier for the head. And so let us get into stuff you need to know about the Quetz platform cage. So first things first, how exactly does it work, and which way, or what is the best way to use it? It works by having the Quetz trapped in this specific spot while you are able to shoot it in the face repeatedly until it goes unconscious. From there, I would suggest starving it, and then once it reaches the appropriate food, since some Quetz are such a long tame that their food actually runs out before they can be fully starved tame, so you're going to need to put food in at a certain point. And you could choose to either leave it on the platform itself. Now, things to know about doing that: if you leave it on the platform, any movement whatsoever by the Quetzal with the cage on it will cause whatever is caged inside of it to fall all the way to the ground. Now, the thing falling to the ground, the wild Quetz that should be inside of it, will not take fall damage, so you don't have to worry about it dying when it hits the ground. But you will have to worry about the things around it that may want to eat it once it falls to the ground. So depending on what HP it's at, it might actually die if you let it drop and you are not prepared down below. So depending on what you want to do, or what's easiest for you, or if you have more than one person, you might just want to leave it up here if you're pretty sure that you're not going to be moving the Quetzal until the thing is tamed. Otherwise, you might be opening yourself up to bad scenarios that won't end well. Now, as you can see, it has 3,277.7 HP out of 5,280. Now, to try to make sure that it's not going to die if it does fall, what I would suggest is having some Enduro Stew on you. Now, also be very careful when jumping on and off your Quetzal with the cage on it, as I said, any movement will cause this thing to fall. Now, you could apply a Enduro Stew to a wild animal while it's unconscious, and it will receive the healing effect, and it does not count towards taming effectiveness to use it, so your effectiveness will still stay the appropriate levels. Now, if you leave the area while it's on the platform and your Quetzal is not on follow of anything, you will actually de-render all of the structure and the Quetzal itself, and this will fall to the ground. Or if you stay in the area and you are not relatively close to your Quetzal and it is not on follow of anything, it tends to wander off, which will indeed cause the wild Quetzal on the platform to fall. Now, to remedy this, I would suggest, if you plan to be near it but still keep in render range, to have either a pterodon or an argent or a tapihara nearby, and put it on one of these 3 top ceilings, and then put the Quetzal, your Quetzal, on follow of it, but make sure your Quetzal's follow distance is either medium, high, or highest. If it's on low or lowest, it will actually, since there's enough distance between the Quetzal and the platform, try to chase it. And so it will move, causing the Quetzal to fall. So some people might find it easier to cage it, knock it out, and then have it fall to the ground. But I tend to be a little bit more reckless and just leave it up here. But I have had it where it has fallen to the ground, but most of the time it has been my fault in some way or another, and not really due to other players, although that could be an issue depending on your server. So I would suggest possibly just having it fall to the ground if you are solo and you don't want to take any risk, and then just put spikes around it once it does hit the ground. But that would mean preparing a little bit and killing the stuff down below. So that pretty much is it. Using this method, you can tame yourself Quetzals pretty easily. You really don't have to chase and then accidentally chase them into somebody's base, and then the turrets murder you, or if they're on wild, they murder the Quetz itself. You know, that can happen depending on where people are at. So yeah, this is how to use the Quetzal platform cage, and this is actually how I've tamed probably 99.9% of my Quetzals. Now, my first Quetzal, which I did get solo as well, I've gone all my Quetzals solo, but the first one was a pain since it was probably about 2 weeks after they had just released the Quetzal. And the only method at the time to get it solo was the parachute method, which pretty much meant a lot of parachutes and having a fast mount, which at the time I was using an Argent and Pterodon, and constantly jumping off the mount, while I would say you would want to be in front of the Quetzal, although its flight path is not necessarily a straight line 90% of the time. But jump in front of it, use your parachute immediately once you dismount, and then shoot it in the face with a trank dart. I would not use crossbows or trank arrows on a Quetzal since their HP is so low. And so with that method, it eventually goes down. I would not do anything above level 15 using that method. But once you get your first Quetzal, I would pump nothing but HP in it, build some sort of cage on it, and then the rest are easy using the cage method. But yeah, if you have a tribe, and a rather large tribe, and you have a decent amount of help, you know, there's multiple scenarios on getting Quetzals for you. And so if you want to do it that way, that's perfectly fine. Or if you want to do it solo, that, you know, is also a possibility. So I just want to say thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.